standard. My name is Joel Sked, and I'm delighted to be joined by Tom Irving to discuss yet another Heart of Midlothian signing, Pierre Landry Kabore, the 8th of the summer. The Burkina Faso International is the latest addition to the Hearts attack. Derek McInnes has wanted to have more options in the final third, and he is someone who has, I think, excited the fan base since it emerged that he was a target. What felt like 2 years ago, but I think it was just earlier this the start of this month, or certainly the end of June. So, Tom, you are here once more to discuss Hearts signing. How are you, and how excited are you about Kabore?
I am not too bad. As we're filming this is the day after the Dumbarton game. Who knows when this is going to come out? So I've managed
hopefully
to get
before the Sunderland game.
Oh yeah, before the Sunderland
Hopefully.
game. So it could all go downhill by the time we release this. Now it's been really positive pre-season so far. So I'm very, very positive and in a good mood, especially related to Hearts. I was saying to my dad yesterday, actually, like in the last couple of years, I've been a bit apathetic towards Hearts, some Hearts squads, and I was sitting in the stands yesterday, just like, I love him, which is, it's been a couple of years since I've really enjoyed and liked the whole team. And Kabore being added is going to be a big one. One of my friends actually was saying yesterday, not seen him kick a ball yet, but he's going to be the best player for us. And it's like, I don't know, he's that kind of profile that's just exciting. Where a lot of the players have been very, Jamestown type players, where they've come from everywhere and anywhere about the blue, but I don't know, there's just something about him. Maybe comparisons to what's his name, who left the Estonian League. He's just dropped out my brain
David,
right now.
Promise David.
That's one, Promise David.
David.
And they've got the same agent. So they might be people might be thinking it's going to be the same thing. He's going to move, and then in a year's time he's going to move to something bigger. I don't know, but it's definitely an exciting signing. I'm looking forward to seeing him. He's going to be, without giving away too much that we're going to chat about, I think he's going to be a menace, and very much a menace.
Yes, I believe he will be. So to a peek behind the curtain, we filmed the Kyrgiota video. Again, it felt like ages ago. It was certainly well before he had signed officially, just because he kind of got the feeling that it definitely was happening. So trying to be prepared, and the expectation was we're going to do Kabore on the same day, but that's been we just kind of been pushing that. So finally, we are talking about Kabore, and hopefully it gets over the line sooner rather than later. Before we get into him and the key question around him, if it's time to hand in your transfer request, then head over to s1jobs.com and upload your CV today. With thousands of jobs across Edinburgh and the surrounding area, you'll find the one at S1 Jobs. Start your search today. Usually when Tom and I do these shows, we tend to follow the kind of same script. When we look at it, I'll bring up the data of the player, and Tom will pick out some of the key metrics that he's found, and then we'll move on to getting Tom's view on watching him. However, in this case, I think we need to start by Kabore's position. I put out a tweet or post on X asking, ahead of filming these two signing videos, Kyrgiota and Kabore, just about if there's anything specifically the fans want to know. And it was Kabore, I think, that most people replied on, and it was surrounding his position. How do you see him fitting into the team, and where his strengths lies? I think he'll be used or utilised in a couple of different roles by Derek McInnes. I think he's got versatility, but you think, Tom, he is best equipped to be a centre forward. Why? So basically, and just let me know. So again, Pete, if you're listening on as a podcast, apologies, because there's some clips, and if you're listening to YouTube, then it's good because you'll be able to see them. And I'll ask Tom to tell me when he needs them to come onto the screen, or the stats as well. So just keep me in the loop, Tom.
Yeah. So I do think he's going to be a versatile player. So when I was looking back at kind of his history and where he's played on Y-Scout and everywhere, basically, there's no information from his time previous to Estonia. So it's a little bit hard to know, what he was like growing up or when he was a little bit younger and playing back in Africa. But even so, looking back as far as we can, we actually saw him playing. He played 1 or 2 games like fullback, like wing back kind of fullback position, and he was just getting up and down, again being a bit of a menace. But I don't expect to see him there.
Who knows after the Dumbarton for the Dumbarton system and lineup?
Exactly. Well, honestly, it wouldn't be a bad idea. He's got a lot of running in him. He works hard. He's quick, and he'll run all day. So yeah. Who knows? Maybe, but I doubt it. We in the last 2 years we've primarily seen him play kind of right wing / right forward or centre forward, being really that focal point of attack, and mostly. So the Estonian season is a summer league, so mostly this year he's been playing as a centre forward. Last year I think it was like a bit of a mix on the wing and up front. So, yeah, it wouldn't put past us to have looked at last year's data and chosen him off last year's data, but going by this year and the fact that he's kind of gradually moving from, I guess, a right back at one point up the pitch into a more central forward position, that's where he's been playing recently. So I think we're probably going to be more inclined to see, well, he's been playing his best football in that position. So I feel like, one, it would make sense to play him there. And then maybe this would be a good point for the videos. Yeah, let's pop the videos. I'll say why and just kind of show why. Let's go for the one of him playing up front first, or more of his hold-up play, kind of.
So this is the one marked Kabore centre forward rather than the dribbling one. Yeah. So I'll add this in and I'll take the commentary out and I'll start put it back to the start. There we go. So this is Kabore on the ball just now, linking up play. Yeah,
so a lot of places, even when he's playing in a wider position, you'll see him, good with his back to goal. He's physical, gets his body around. Here he is again, good touch to get away from players. And yeah, if that was in the centre park, it would make sense as a centre forward. Again, winning headers. He's winning a foul here. He jumps up much higher than the centre forward. Good hold-up play again here. I think he gets fouled here by his own teammate, but again, gets his body in the way when there's multiple players around him.
I'll just pause. Sorry, Tom. I'll go back to this one in the middle of apologies if you're watching and listening and jumping around, but this is something that watching it. This one here, where he is taken, it's gone into his feet, and he's turned instantly with the ball, and immediately he's moving forward. The team are moving forward. That's something where you're just like instantly thinking, that's good. That's just really good habits. Dennis McInnes is talking about wanting his players to be natural, especially going forward and wanting to progress the game forward. And I think that's a really good example of a striker doing so. And kind of talked about it with Craig after the game against Dumbarton. Braga's the same in that they'll look to turn and just not play where it's came from.
And then a lot of time, I don't know if we see it in the videos, but he does like what Uche would do. He would have a hold of the boy before the ball even comes to him. Here, he wins the ball from a long ball, messes up the next touch, but gets the ball back, and continues playing. He's very good at getting his body around. Like he's going up against like 3 defenders and a goalie there, and he's not bothered. He's going up against his own teammate. He comes out with the ball, and again wants to drive forward and get a shot forward. Again, maybe a little bit of a poor touch, but draws a foul. Again, 1-on-1 chance to win a header, and he wins it. All these clips are from 2 games as well. I randomly chose 2 games that he played up front for 90 minutes. All these clips are, I would say, fairly good representations of a centre forward who's going to win the ball, hold up play, attack from the middle, be lots of hustle and bustle, and yeah, all from 2 games. Like if we were looking at all of his running from 2 games, if you're looking at, you might expect like Kaziridis, where he went at a player, he played 45 minutes and he he went at like 10, 15 players or whatever it was. He dribbled all the time. But for Kabore, a lot of what he does and a lot of the time he's involved is just back to goal, holding off players, using his strength, and trying to bring people into the game. Let's see here.
It's one thing that I hadn't realised they were just from two games, but it's how involved he is. Like how many times he's involved in the build-up play. And again, this is I apologise because I don't want to single him out, but it's just an easy comparison to make to Kabangu. And I mentioned it when I was doing the video last night with Craig. Is that after the game? Is that there's a lot of times where Kabangu frustrates me with his build-up play because he'll get the ball and he'll play it back to where it's come from. Whereas you look at Kabore, he turns on it, he faces up defenders, he's ready to be on the move, he's ready to be on the half turn and kind of progress it. It feels like players could play into him and they can then make runs beyond them rather than having to make a support and run and just get a bounce back pass.
Exactly. He's going to bring a lot of people into play by, like, if we're in danger and if he's playing in a central forward position, just pinging the ball long. One, he's got the pace and work rate to chase balls in behind. And we saw that with a lot of his goals. I think you'll involve the goals in the article that we send out that I've posted on X. But again, just hold up play. Like he does that. I really like that he does that thing where, like I mentioned a minute ago, where Uchi would do, he would have his hands around the centre back or whoever he's playing against and be backing into him, using his body so he's in control of the situation, and then the ball gets played into him. It's not, oh, I'm getting the ball played into me. Okay, I need to get my position. I need to make sure where the player is. And that's something like, if he was a proper winger, if we watch any winger that we've ever had trying to play centre forward, they wouldn't have that knowledge and game awareness to, get in close to the centre back and hold him tight and be control of the situation. Like that's a centre forward, something we can teach, but a lot of it is just intuition and knowledge of playing in that role. I think things like that, a lot of the things we saw there, he was actually out wide a lot of the time. So that might kind of go against what I'm trying to say here, but everything in that clip I think showed good centre forward play, even if it was wider out the pitch or slightly deeper what have you. I think it all transfers into a good kind of centre forward. But then again, if we're playing with kind of a three up top, I think you'd be very productive on the right of a three, the likes of, like, I don't know, we've got so many combinations, but if you had a front three of Shanks, Kabore and Braga, for example, although maybe Braga and Kabore might not be in their best position because that's Shanks in the centre, I think it would still work in a three in attack. Instead of two wingers and one centre forward, three kind of tighter centre forwards. You'd have Braga being able to drive, run at them, chase the ball all the time. Same with Kabore in a slightly different style. And then you've got the good hold-up play and just centre forward awareness of being in the box and stuff, as Shankland is probably the best in Scotland as. So, and then that's just three of our players. We've got Kiziridis, we've got Kabanga, we've got Wilson, we've got
Kajota,
we've got Forrest, we've got, I've forgotten about 40 players right now because we've got so many of them.
Chesnikov to come, hopefully.
Chesnikov, I'll say, I don't know if I've mentioned this, but I think he's the best one we've recruited.
I don't think you're the only one who has that view on as well, and it's exciting. And just you talking about Kabore and Braga, and I can already picture in my head. I think it's just a really nice balance, and it does bringing these guys in. It allows McInnes to play. I was speaking to Craig about it during the game last night. It's like, I think we have to prepare ourselves to see him different formations from game to game, but also different systems within games and changes. And at the moment, you can play 3-5-2, 4-2-3-1, 4-4-2. These guys coming in allows you to play 4-3-3, and Braga's natural tendency is to play through the middle but drift left. Kabore is if he's playing out wide, then it's naturally to play on the right and then come inside. And I just think these two guys will elevate Lauren Shanklin. Lauren Shanklin's really good at elevating others around him, but I think players like this will have a similar impact as well, and allowing him to play and be even having less responsibility, but hopefully being as important as he was or he has been over the last 3 seasons.
Yeah, and I think we saw, like, even last night or last week, whenever this goes out, the Dumbarton game, there was lots of like Kayarta. He was a bit rusty, obviously. I think he's barely played recently, but there was one good little like I don't know, 3 or 4 passes between him and I can't remember who it was, maybe Braga or Kazuridis or something, where you could see just like everyone's brains working in line with each other and the little short, sharp passes and movement. And we see that from Shanks a lot, but I think a lot of the time his brain is ahead of other people's. So he'll make the pass that's like, it would be brilliant for Messi to run onto, but I don't know, Alan Forrest is on a different plane, kind of, different plane of thinking, kind of. But or anyone in the team. I don't want to select a random one player there, but I think a lot of times he's definitely ahead of other people. But now he's got these intelligent players around him who we've probably lacked in the last couple of years, and why Shanklin's had to do a lot of the work is because he's been the focal point. He's been the main man up top. But I think he won't be this season, and there'll be times where we drop him because he's not the best option for the team, where in last 3 years he's been undroppable. He has been the man you need up front, and the main and sometimes the only option. But I feel like he's going to be dropped a few times. We're going to see a vice captain be captain for some games because it's going to be hard. We've got so many options now. And
even just again within games, it's having these options to change things off the bench. It just doesn't feel like that's been the case. And like Shanklin's over the last few seasons had to play 90 minutes. It's felt like he's had to play 90 minutes, whereas that's no longer going to be the case. And that's a really good thing for Shanklin and everyone else, because you're not running him into the ground mentally or physically. So before we move on to talk about Kabore as a wide person, as a wider player and what he can bring, we've got a clip of his dribbling. I may as well bring in his data on the compared to centre forwards. So I don't know if you want to kind of talk us through this and maybe pick out one or two that Hearts fans should be aware of, or something that signals like just how productive he could be for Hearts.
Yeah, can you quickly just show the other one as well for the wingers, just so we can just quickly see the difference. So this is
Kabore compared to all wingers.
Yeah, so we'll go back to the striker, but just note that there's a lot more red, orange, yellow in this one and less green. I know that's not the be-all, end-all of this data, but I think that kind of highlights where a lot of my points are going to come from. So, like, the most important thing for a striker or an attacking player a lot of time would be goals. He's scoring nearly a goal a game. The logo is right above this, but I think it's 0.83 goals per game, which is ridiculous. Like,
I don't know can I remove that? Oh, there you go.
There we are. I don't know what Shanklin's best season was, but it's not been as high as this, I don't think. Goal conversion rate's a really important one. The kind of range, this is probably a number that, sometimes you might just have a league of really good strikers who are scoring lots of goals, and you don't actually know like a reference point of what's good, but general like elite level would probably be between maybe 17, 22, 23 is like the elite level of sustainable goal conversion rate. So he's right at the top of that, and that's really good to see. Scoring 1 in 5 shots doesn't sound anything incredible, but when you consider it's actually some of the best in the world, kind of, even though against maybe not the best goalkeepers right now in Estonia, but that's really important. Compared to all strikers, he's shooting more than anyone else in the league, and considering he has spent some time out on the wing, I think that's important. And he's also playing for not the best team in the league. He's playing for a team who are, the time of writing, I think about 5th in the league, quite far a bit off of number 1, and then the next 3 teams I think are quite a bit better as well. So shouldn't be getting a lot of chances, but he is, because he works a lot, and he finds good positions. He creates a lot of chances for himself as well, which is good. Touches in the penalty box as well. If he was a winger, these wouldn't be as high when you're comparing him to other centre forwards. And then I think the bottom bit off the ball stuff as well is really important. Aerial duels and duels won, best in the league for both of those. So usually when you're challenging for more, you're probably less likely to win as many, because if you went in for 50 headers in a game compared to the guy who just goes in for 1 that he knows he's going to win, usually that win percentage goes down, but he somehow manages to win more than anyone else. And there's been debates over how tall he is and stuff. I'm still not sure, to be honest, but I think you saw in that video, he's good at chucking his body about, and he's got a good leap on him. If he's not, very tall, we'll find out soon, I suppose.
Sorry to come in on that. Just you described him, and they're talking about his aerial duels and stuff. You described him as a menace, and I think I think his first season in Estonia, I think his disciplinary record wasn't very good, and I do think, I think that's the type of player he is. From people I've spoken to, is that he'll put himself about, and it seems like he's got it's basically just like when he gets on the pitch, like a determination, like a single focus. You've seen it in a couple of the clips that we showed earlier with his build-up play or hold-up play, is that it was like jumping over or getting involved in his own player. It's like moving him out the road. So I do think Hearts fans will like that side of things, and I think he'll be an uneasy player to play against for opposition fans, and I can see him probably getting spoken to by a ref every now and then.
Yeah, definitely. And that was one of the first things I noticed as well, was he runs all day, every day. Yeah. I was absolutely knackered just paying attention to him and watching him. So I can't imagine how knackered he would be. But yeah, just like a lot of our players, I think we'll quickly find out, especially in our attacking players, they're not scared to work hard, and there's a lot of running in every single player we've signed. A lot of pressing, and that probably will come into, don't know, this is a bit of a random knowledge I've got here. Burkina Faso means land of the honest men, and I think Kabore, he fits into that. He's an honest player. He's just going to just do his all for the team. So yeah, I'm excited. I'm very excited. I guess we can quickly look at the winger stats.
Yeah. So I was going to say, after you're spreading a bit of wisdom. Do you want me to bring up? I've got the touches for his games against.
Yeah. And there's not a lot to it, but it just shows.
So this is so again. Can you remember which game he played where? So it was Calju and Levadia.
So it was the opposite of what we think it was. So this, you would imagine, should be when he was playing centre forward, but I'm pretty sure this one was actually. Yeah, no, you'd imagine this one was when he was playing on the wing, but this was actually when he was playing up front, weirdly. But in both of these images, you see him pulling over to the right-hand side much, much more, which is something, he likes to do. He's very much a right-sided player. He likes coming in off that right side, even when playing centrally. But you'll see a lot of successful actions there, deeper. So lots of chasing back, working back. I can't remember exactly what these touches were, but I'm pretty sure he might have actually lost the ball, or his team lost the ball, in the final third, and he chased back, and I think a few of these touches were quick succession, because he won the ball and then got tackled, and it was 2 or 3 people just kind of fighting each other for the ball. But yeah, gets back and defends a lot. And I'm pretty sure this was actually when he was playing right wing, definitely when he was playing right wing. And again, so we see a few kind of defend in his own penalty box. This will be him winning or challenging for headers and stuff from corners, which is another thing I've seen with a lot of the players. Either they're good taking set pieces, or they're good involved in set pieces in some way, be it on the end of a header or something like that. So I think there's very much a tie-in with the fact we brought in a set-piece coach. And like yesterday when Cariotta came off the bench, he took both the corners that we had after. So he's clearly been earmarked to be a corner taker, even though on that pitch we probably had 4 or 5 players that took corners for us at some point in the last year. But again, lots of work in his own half. And lots of touches all over the park, but again, more towards the right hand side. But like I said, this was a game where he played on the right and he was getting dragged in centrally. So who knows? It could have been something to do with just the game and what was going on in the game, or maybe he just likes ignoring what his manager's been told him to do, basically. But I think he did like to drift centrally quite often.
Yeah.
When he was on it centrally, he would drift drift to the right to get the ball, very rarely to the left. When he's on the right, he likes to cut in when he gets the ball. I think he'll cut in instead of going down the wing a lot of the time. So yeah.
Where do you want me to go now? Do you want to bring up the winger stats, or do you want to bring up the winger, the dribbling clip?
Let's just go winger stats quickly. I won't chat about it much, to be honest.
Cool.
So where are we? So yeah, again, a lot of the top stuff is the same data that we looked at before, just compared to wingers instead. So like expected assists in comparison to other wingers is very low, and assists is 0. So when we looked at Cariotta, when we looked at Kazaridis, when we looked at Chesney, all of those were like best in the league, but Kabore isn't. So unless we're thinking, okay, we can play him in a wide position, but know he's going to contribute goals, he doesn't scream winger that's going to get assists by his data here. But all wingers, they don't have to be, just assists. Maybe he's going to be a goal scoring winger instead. And then where is it? Passes to the penalty areas, where also I like to look there as well. He's got when you look at his crosses per 90 and his accurate crosses, he barely crosses the ball, and his accuracy is quite high, which is quite common because he's not doing it often. Mm-hmm. I think that makes sense. But when we look at passes into the penalty area, it's much higher, and the accuracy is still pretty good. So I feel like a lot of time he's, instead of getting down the wing and crossing the ball in, he's getting into a good position, probably more centrally, and passing the ball in instead of just beating his man and pinging a ball in, which all the wingers we've signed, all really good at that. They've all got good crosses on them. Kabore's not got that. He's a bit, again, though, it could be just a different style of winger. He's a guy who's going to cut in and play passes. So I'm kind of arguing against myself here, but it's all good. And then the other thing I think would be kind of the dribbles, successful dribbles. Isn't that high? He does, I think he knows that he's a star man in his team, so he does do a little bit too much. I don't think he's going to feel that way when he joins Hearts, because the standard's much higher. So I doubt that. He's got a bit of selfishness about him, but not in a bad way. I just think it's obvious. And you saw how involved he was in those 2 games that we showed for his kind of hold-up play. I think his teammates know how valuable he is. So I doubt that successful dribbles will stay as low. But then again, with the other kind of assist, we've got the shot assist at the bottom there. Decent amount, but like his assists, he's not really creating as much for his teammates as in the final third. It's more creating stuff for himself, creating his own shots, getting onto the end of crosses, scoring goals. So yeah, it's hard because there is a million different types of winger. Well, not really, but there's a few different types of wingers there. And he is definitely potentially a winger. I don't know. I'm hoping that people can see my argument why I think he's probably a centre forward. And then he's going to come out, play 95% of his games on the wing, and he's going to be amazing, and I'm going to look stupid. So we can delete this video at that point, please, for my professional.
So I will bring up I'll put the dribbling video, so I'll add that to kind of shows you I'm out on the right here.
Yeah, and it's not as long, this, and it's there's not as much to it, but we saw. There we are. So he's getting the ball here, driving forward. He's good driving at pace with it. And then you'll see he tries to do a little bit too much and maybe he should pass it here. He actually does. He ends up keeping the ball, but he runs into a kind of dead end there. And we get a shot away. But here he is picking up the ball in the wide area, trying to go at players, and at this point does create a chance. Doesn't go past the player though, where if it was, Kizaridis or Chesney or something, I think he would have beaten that player instead. Here he does that. He runs again right through the middle and creates his own chance. He actually scored at the end of that. I cut that by accident though. And you
can see how you talked about him not wanting to cross it, and he does try. It goes back to him looking to seemingly try to play it into someone's feet rather than just chuck it in the box.
Exactly. Again, brilliant turn off balance there. Gets past his man. He's got 3 men around him, and it's more like his physicality. Like when he's about to get tackled, again passing the ball in the box there. He's easy. He's good at getting his body. What's happening in this one? Oh yeah, creates his own chance. Again, if you look at all these clips, apart from one of them, all of these clips have been him running centrally, taking the ball and going central again, central. Poor pass there, but he's always wanted to cut in and come centrally with that. Let's see if he does that here. He's going to make me look stupid. So yeah, cuts in and gets a shot off that takes a deflection. So like a lot of that is the point of that video was to show, he's got the technical ability, but he's not really inclined to beat a player or beat multiple players and use his really good pace to go at players. He's more inclined to kind of drift in, get past the player without, beating him. He doesn't actually go past him. He just cuts in and kind of cuts across him a wee bit and create a chance or create a shot or something, then hit the byline and get a ball in the box. It's just, like I said, a different type of winger or whatever he's going to play. Lots of coming in centrally, lots of good touches, and a couple of those, like he was off balance and the ball was away from him, but he managed to kind of get it, keep control of it and get past his player. Lots of those, not erratic, but like unconventional touches that are going to be hard to defend against, especially when you've got a brick wall holding you off and stuff. So it's going to be interesting to see how he does. The Estonian League, we usually would have mentioned this. Estonian League's a bit hit and miss. Levadia are the best team in the league, and they are pretty much like a relegation Scottish team. And then we've got a few teams, Calju, Flora, and the other one, that are kind of like Scottish Championship, top 4, top 5 level. And then the rest are kind of bottom 6, top League 1 type teams. And the physicality is not as much there in Estonia. It's much more, I don't know how, a softer league, I guess. It's not the toughest and most physical league. So we'll see if he's able to throw people about like an empty tracksuit in Scotland. But, he's playing against big centre halves that have been in the game quite a long time and stuff. And he's able to hold them off with ease. So, coming up against, I don't know, who's the biggest and most physical centre back in Scotland? Craig Halkett. Yeah, he'll be all right. We'll see though. It'll be funny. I was actually thinking that when writing the article. I was thinking training. There's going to be a training ground bust up that's going to come up with Halkett and Kabore leaving the training ground with black eyes just from like fighting each other after a long hard session or something. I don't think either of them has got that in their personality to swing punches at their teammates, but like just the way they're going to play against each other in training, there's going to be something that happens. It's got to, like, they're going to be wrestling or something. It's just, there's going to be something. But
you mentioned about just about escaped my mind. You mentioned about the level. So Levadia, they played RFS in the Champions League first round qualifier and were beaten by RFS of Riga, who obviously Hearts played in the Conference League group stage a couple of seasons ago. They were beaten 1-0 in each leg in the first round of the Champions League qualifier. So that kind of gives you an idea that Estonia probably not the best league, but again,
And the RFS they've got a lot of money. Like they're clear. Like that was a champion. Yeah, they won the league. They're a good team. RFS. I think we saw that they're a pretty good team. Like
some good results.
Yeah, they're well above. But Estonia is a wee bit below Latvia. I would say anyway. Myself, I would think it's a little bit below that. Probably the lesser of the three in the Baltics. Maybe close to Lithuania, but I would say personally, I think Latvia is the best league. So, yeah.
You, just to conclude and finish up there, it's kind of been a bit of a long one, but he's deserved it. You talked about, when you kind of concluded your article by talking about he is someone with a really high upside. What do you see that upside being?
I just think he's got the style where if he replicates kind of his performances in Estonia, if he does that in Scotland, I think he's got all the physical qualities. Like we might get some players that like look ridiculously good technically, but they're quite slow, or like a lot of the players that come to Scotland are restricted in some ways. And I would say for Kabore, it's probably his technical ability. Actually, he's got the fitness, he's got kind of the work rate. I think he's intelligent, and his technical ability is pretty good. But that's probably like the weaker of maybe not always technical ability, but like maybe his close control and kind of first touch sometimes is a bit off. But because he's so strong and quick and hard working, like he'll take a wee bit of a dodgy touch and he'll make it up, or he'll take a wee bit of a dodgy touch, but he'll be holding off the guy behind him, so it doesn't matter that it wasn't perfect. I just think he's got the physical qualities to go up a level, basically. If he can refine a little bit of his game and, do that in Scotland, I think he's just got the physical qualities to go to English Premier League or something like that, instead of, like where Scottish players usually go. They're usually a bit restricted physically and stuff and have to go for one of the leagues that are a little bit easier to play in, and sometimes they don't work out, I guess. I just rambled there, but I think his physical qualities and will really help him move up to the next level, and that's something we struggle with in the Scottish game quite a lot. I think is that physical side, but he's got that in bags. And if he can, I'm going to say this again, but if he can replicate what he did in Estonia and Scotland, he won't be here for long. If he doesn't, then it wasn't an expensive gamble, and he'll probably still have suitors elsewhere where we won't lose money out of him, based on what he did in Estonia. But if he can replicate that, he's gonna go for a lot of money, I think, like the likes of kind of Promise David and stuff have done from the same league.
Well, fingers crossed, and I think I can speak for everyone to say that everyone's very excited to see him in Hearts top. And the good thing is because he's been playing so regularly in Estonia, is that he can come straight in and he's not having to be built up like Kajota was, where he could only manage. It was only viewed that he could play 20 minutes on Wednesday night against Dumbarton. So hopefully he can hit the ground running this season when it gets over the line, which we'll have done by the time this video is released. Tom, thank you very much once again. Thank you very much, everyone, for listening. Apologies if you do listen via podcast, just with some of the graphs and the videos we put up. It might have been not a difficult listen, but it wouldn't have been as enjoyable a listen as doing so on YouTube. But that's what happens. That's the nature of it. But if you do watch on YouTube and you haven't subscribed, please do so, and be sure to check out heartstandard.co.uk. There's plenty of content up there, including Tom's written lowdown on Kabore, which you can find in the video description or the podcast description. Until the next time, thank you very much and goodbye.